And you may have heard this whole thing about what's the deal with biologic age versus the chronologic age and all the thing. Well, if I sat down and we were chit-chatting and I said, "Hey, your body could actually be older or younger than your chronologic age, right? Than the age based upon your birthday, right?" So here's the thing. They can be very different. Let me give you an example. So let's say you have two people. They're both 50. Um, and one of them feels amazing. They literally have the energy. They can do whatever they want. They can literally do the things that they used to do in their 20s and 30s, whether it be hiking, mountain biking, climbing, running up the stairs, running around the block, chasing kids, whatever it is. And the other one's like, oh my gosh, I get up, my back hurts, I'm achy. And I just climb the stairs in my house and I get out of breath and I just don't have the energy to run around with my grandkids, whatever it is. And they're both 50 years old. Like, what the heck? Is this possible? Yeah, it's possible. We see it each and every day. So here's the truth. This is something that you can actually affect change rapidly, nearly immediately. You can make changes in this. You don't have to, age can truly be what I often say, it's just a number. It's just a number. It can truly be that because you can feel and actually have your biology so much younger than whatever that calendar date says, right? Like it's it's one of those things that I am passionate about because I figured out how to feel 10, 20. In fact, I got my biological age checked just a couple of months ago and it said I was in my early 30s and I'm in my 50s. I'm nearly 20 years younger by data, but I actually feel even younger than that. I can literally do everything I could do in my 20s. And one of the biggest features in aging that we can monitor, that we can measure, that we can look at, that is actually huge in impact is this thing called mitochondrial dysfunction. And this was in the recent Journal of the Clinics of Investigation. It was published, just 3 years ago, July 1st, 2023, and it's entitled Mitochondrial Dysfunction in Cell Senescence and Aging. And this I thought was such a great article because it talked about what happens at the level of these powerhouses in our cell called the mitochondria. Like they are literally what helps us to feel amazing and energized and all the things, or if they're not working at tip-top shape, right? If they're, as I talk about in my book, I talk about it's kind of like the difference between burning diesel gas and having an electric vehicle. There's like no emissions in the electric vehicle. The mitochondria are working amazing. They're pumping out the energy. My brother and I chit chat about this the other day, how in an electric car, you can literally hit the gas and that thing just takes off all the torque, and then say if you got a diesel engine, how fast do those take off? Like not very quickly. And they burn dirty, right? Look at the plume that comes out of the exhaust pipe. And there ain't none of that coming out of an electric vehicle. And this isn't about whether or not you should get an electric vehicle. It's nothing to do that. But when your mitochondrial, those they're called organelles, but when they are working well, you actually have more energy, you get more energy, you feel more energized, you can produce more energy. And I'm gonna share with you. I can't wait. I'm like billowing with excitement. This is one of my favorite topics to share about how you can actually affect change in your own cells at the cellular level. This was just from 2 years ago. It was July also, I guess, the popular time in the summer to come out with these amazing articles. This one's entitled Mitochondrial Dysfunction and its Association with Age-Related Disorders. I was just reading about this week because somebody asked me a question about the neurodegenerative diseases because she's really worried in her family. Alzheimer's runs strongly, as it does mine. I even have that gene, the ApoE4 allele, that puts me at predisposed risk for that. I have a family member, in fact, my own mother is struggling with this right now. And I had an auntie, her sister, who died real young of Alzheimer's, early 60s. And so this is something that is front and foremost in my mind. And one of the things that drives it actually is mitochondrial dysfunction. And so I want to share with you today what we can do about this, right? Why would I even share about it? There's nothing you can do. There's actually a lot that you can do. So here's the deal. I'm going to share with you some of the data as well as some of the tools that I've learned in my life, how you can actually make an impact and feel younger, even 10 or 20 years younger, and have your biology reflect that. Most of us have felt at some point in our lives that's so important and critical, and it's our energy levels, right? Maybe you feel low energy and you just can't really figure out what is happening with this. And this is usually the first signal that you can often feel. It's one of those things that is fascinating because as I shared, these small little organelles, which are inside nearly each and every cell in your whole entire body, other than the red blood cells, they produce the energy. They're called the mitochondria. And what happens is they lose efficiency and what we call respiratory capacity, meaning literally that they produce less energy. And at the same time, kind of as I alluded to in my example of the diesel engine versus the electric engine, they produce more inflammation, or what is called in the scientific world reactive oxygen species. This is kind of like the biologic rust, if you will, or the biologic plume of exhaust, like the diesel engines they produce. When they're not working well, they not only produce less energy, but they also have more exhaust, if you will, right? More oxidative damage, these so-called reactive oxygen species, which cause stress in the body, they cause inflammation, and they, in our purposes today, they accelerate your aging. So this example I shared at the outset, where this guy, is in his, he's 50 and he feels like he's 60 or 65 because he has more inflammation going on. The mitochondria in his body are not working efficiently. They're not working well. And effectively, what happens is that he has less energy production, he has more inflammation, more free radical or oxidative species damage, and his cellular signaling isn't as efficient. And so when this happens, this is when aging accelerates. You have accelerated aging. And that's why you feel that something's up. You're lower in energy, that you just don't have the chutzpah, if you will. And it's actually biology. It's truly cellular. So here's some just high potent, high leverage things you can start doing immediately today. First one is one of my favorites of all times, and I share about this extensively. You might have heard about it before. Is to get up early and see the morning light. Like get outside within the first hour, let's say, of sunrise. And it doesn't have to be for a long time. It could be 5 minutes. Maybe you make it 10 and you go for a little walk around your block. Don't wear sunglasses. This is early light exposure. You don't need sunglasses, but this helps reset your biologic or so-called circadian rhythm, and it will help tremendously with your energy levels throughout the day as well as your sleep at night. So number one thing, get out in the morning light. Number two, you got to prioritize protein early in the day. Your first meal should be power packed with protein. 30 to 50 grams. If you're a lady, shoot for 30. If you're a dude, shoot for 40 or 50. And this provides the support that you need for your organ of longevity, right? The muscle. Muscle is literally the organ of longevity, and you need protein to be able to build muscle. It gives your body all the essential, what we call the amino acids or the raw materials that it needs for energy production. It also helps you stabilize your blood sugar. It creates some satiety early on so you don't feel like snacking. So prioritize protein, especially the first meal of the day, 30 to 50 grams. And then every meal thereafter, if you do two more meals, do about 30-ish or 30 or 40, or maybe even up to 50. I actually do about 50 grams of protein for every meal because I don't really snack in between at all. I shoot for about 150 grams per day. Most ladies should shoot for about 100 grams of protein per day. You got to measure it, right? What you don't measure, you can't optimize. So do that as well. Prioritize protein and measure it. The next thing, powerfully, and it affects the mitochondria so much, is move your body. You got to move every single day. Even if it's not your weight training day, you should be moving, whether it be walking or moderate runs. You got to do something. You got to move your body. And I always talk about the easiest way that I found to do that, which is just to walk for 10 minutes after every meal. You can usually figure out how to incorporate that, right? If we say, you got to hit it for 30 minutes, and like, why can't I find 30 minutes? Well, every time you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever, walk for 10 minutes after, just two or three songs. 3 songs, boom, you're already at 10 minutes. Or just walk in silence like I do, just looking out at nature. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. Or if you got to be indoors, walk on your treadmill, like whatever. Walk for 10 minutes after meals. And make sure to incorporate 2 to 4 days, just shoot for 3 of strength training, good old fashioned what we call pumping iron, right? We call it nowadays resistance training because it's kind of the in vogue thing. This is where you increase your muscle mass through resistance in the gym or at home, body weight, all sorts of things. When you do this, you actually stimulate this factor in your body that grows the mitochondria. You get more of them. And guess what? When you get more of them, you get more energy. You improve not only the ones that you got, and it improves their density, their function, but you can also grow more of them. And this is well supported in the literature. This can happen at any age. Like literally, this is amazing stuff. And the last thing with this step to increase your energy is you got to prioritize your sleep. Like literally protect it like it matters because it really, really does. Sign number 2. So we talked about low energy. Maybe you've had this sign, some stubborn belly fat, like midsection fat, this so-called visceral fat, if you will, that, if you're in your 40s and 50s, you understand what this is. You're like, what the heck? I'm eating good, I'm moving, I'm doing all the things, but like I got this little extra around the midsection, whether you're guy or gal, like none of us like this. It sucks. And worse than that, not just what it looks like physically, but that actually is the type of fat that can be dangerous, the so-called visceral or abdominal fat. That's actually very, very inflammatory. It releases, they're kind of like hormones. They're special. They're called adipokines that actually cause inflammation in the body. And what happens is it really drives this primary issue that I was telling you about just a moment ago called insulin resistance, which messes with all your hormones. There's a couple of things right now, action steps you can start today. Number one, stop snacking. I've said this before. I say it in my book. I haven't actually said it in a little while because I don't think about it as often because I rarely snack. But when you're snacking all the time, guess what happens when you're snacking? Your body is producing more insulin and it's getting more and more insulin resistant. And so try to tighten up your meal schedule where you're eating three powerful meals packed with protein, 30 to 50 grams per meal. And then honestly, you're not even going to feel hungry. You won't even feel hungry in between. You won't even feel the need to snack. Really want you to get your energy up for this last part because it is where a lot of people feel it, but they don't know how to fully describe it. This is when you have poor recovery, right? When you go to the gym, you're doing your thing and you're like, what the heck? I'm not bouncing back. I don't feel as energized. It can be a little bit more subtle, but you feel like, hey, I'm doing the things, but it's just not working like maybe it did in your 20s or 30s. Like what's going on here? We've already talked about the inflammation that might be happening, the cellular senescence or those cells getting older. But what is at the central core is just as I shared previously in the first point I made about your energy feeling low, it's these powerhouses called the mitochondria. And not only can they decline in number, but they can decline in efficiency. And this is when the cells go into that, what they call the senescence, which is where they're just kind of in this kind of in between. They're not really super alive. They're not really dead yet, but they're just not producing much energy. They're in this old, worn out state, and they don't have the ability to repair themselves properly. They're not functioning optimally. They're not sending the right signals, which is why you don't recover as well. It's why your sleep becomes less restorative. It's why the workouts feel harder. I don't know if you felt that. I felt that before. Mostly in my 30s and mid 40s, I'm like, I'm doing the things, I'm working out, but I'm not recovering. I just feel achy all the time. This is when somebody says, I'm doing all the things, but I'm just not bouncing back. That's when your biology is moving towards this senescence that I just shared about and inflammation. These are the tools that can really get you to where you want to be. You got to know what your body needs and know the signals, right? The low energy we talked about, the stubborn belly fat, the poor recovery. These aren't just random things that happen. They're kind of the early check engine lights. I just love to share this with you because it's what really moves the needle at the end of the day. So I hope you found value here. And if you want to reach out to me, have questions, feel free to. I'm at Dr. Thomas Hemingway, that's Dr. Thomas Hemingway on Instagram, Facebook, Thomas Hemingway MD, my website, thomashemingway.com. You can reach out to me, send me a message. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, drop a review over here on Apple, like this kind soul recently. And I will give you, if you're one of the next 10 that does so, I'll give you a free copy of my book. I'll mail it to you. I'll even, heck, like I'll get it out to you, within, I can get expedited shipping so you can have that. And you can, I just want to give that to you as my simple thanks for being a part of this. So reach out. Drop me a review on Apple. I'll send you a free book for the next 10 that do it. And remember, there's so much you can do. You are not a victim of your genetics or what have you. Like, an age is just a number. That's all it is. Your biology you can change. That's the truth. That's what I found. That's what the data shows. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful. Together, we can do so much. And thank you for being a part of it all. Make sure you share this out, drop me a review, and let me know how you're doing. Until next time, aloha.